So this will be posted on my YouTube either tonight or tomorrow, because you guys know I am so bad about getting these up. But I'm so excited to chat with Emily tonight. We had a chance to go hang out with Mary Beth early in August, and we both got a chance to stay at her house, and there was such a connection. I just fell in love with this girl's soul and her personality. She's the sweetest, and I'm so excited for her to come on and share so much about how she works through the craziness of life. So if you want to unmute yourself, you should be able to, and just introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about your story, as much or as little as you want. We want to, how long you've been with It Works, the whole jam.
Sure. I'd love to share it. I'd love to. I will tell you guys too, I am like a green blue personality. I'm like a walking bruise. So that if you can have your camera on, I don't care if you feel like you don't look cute, as long as you got clothes on, I'd love to see your face. So if you can turn your camera on, that's great. If not, I totally get it. Life happens. And if you need to have it on, I'm just happy you're here. My name is Emily Robison. I've been with It Works for 5 years now, which feels absolutely insane to me. I'm so proud of that. I am a triple diamond. And when It Works found me, I was a full-time hairstylist. I was working kind of weird hours. Anyone else a hairstylist, drop a one. When you're a hairstylist, you kind of, especially when you're in the beginning stages building your book, you have to be available when people are off of work, right? So I was working kind of like that swing second shift. My husband was a full-time deputy for our county. He worked mainly in the jail. And he also was kind of in that beginning stages of, building up rank and stuff. So he was kind of like second, third. We had like this brief 9 months of first shift, which is incredible. And then he was back to kind of crappy shifts. So we were kind of ships passing in the night. We thought we had the American dream and quickly realized it was not all that it was cracked up to be. We just had this tugging on our heart for more. We are first ones in our family to accomplish really anything. If you get my drift, we were the first people to really get careers or work hard at something. We were the first people in our family outside of our grandparents to buy a house. We just felt like we had something to prove. Can anyone relate to that? Drop a 2 if you can. When It Works first popped up on my social media, I was skeptical, to say the least. This is actually my 4th company. In a 10-year period, I had taken a part of a couple other direct sales for fun, for experience, for silly reasons. I can look back and also see kind of where I was really young and immature and things weren't a good fit. I didn't have good quality leadership. The compensation plan wasn't what I needed to be. You name it. Hindsight's always 20/20, right? So I had sworn off direct sales forever. Like, no, I want no part of that. But my pastor's adult daughter, so like I didn't know her, I just knew and trusted her parents, but her mom pretty much did the original host to post and said her daughter Catherine had launched her own business and she needed product reviewers. So I knew right away it was direct sales. I knew it was something along those lines, but I had to watch. I mean, I trusted my pastors. I had a great relationship, and so I just wanted to watch. I had been praying really hard for an answer. I really felt the Lord calling me. He actually kept whispering social media to me. And I'm like, is it a blog? Silence. I'm like, well, what do you mean? I had actually had several different people through prayer partners, all those different things drop in social media and like, in a way, point me in this direction. So when 7 months, I commented on every single HSN post. I would message her after she would make an opportunity post. Obviously, I didn't know what they were, but I was that person who blew up her inbox and then ghosted and then commented and then left her on red. So if you got someone like that, love them through it and just stay consistent, because you never know what's going to come from that. So 7 months of watching Katie Rogers in the business, she actually went live after I think double. She was sitting on her front porch, and she is not one to go live very often, at least wasn't then. And she just conveyed so much emotion and sincerity and joy. And I knew that this was it. Like, I knew that this was it. I wanted to make sure the company was as great as they said it was, that the CEO she kept talking about was as cool as he was and sincere as he was, that it wasn't just faith-based in a bio, that it was lived out. Feel me on that? Anybody? That the income was real. I mean, people could make claims all day long, but is this compensation plan built to help everybody, not just the people at the top of the compensation plan? So I hope that touched all the bases. I feel like I rabbit trailed a little bit.
Oh my gosh, it's so good. I love that. There's God brings things into your path at the right time for the right reasons. And I love that you were able to find that connection even after being like, this industry is not for me. Yet clearly God was like, nope, I've got it. And it's going to be bigger than your wildest dreams. And I just love the way it always seems to work like that. So let's talk a little bit real quick. Do you work mainly on Facebook or Instagram, TikTok, a mix of all of it, or what platforms do you really use?
Yes. Oh my gosh, I love this so much. So Facebook's been my bread and butter for 5 years. I've been working Instagram consistently with my Facebook for the last, I'm trying to think what year it was. It would have been 20, no, I can't remember if it was 2019 or 2020. And forgive me because I can't, after the shutdown, I feel like I have to look back at things. It's either 2019 or 2020. I went to a Millionaire Mindset Weekend that Alyssa Wilbur hosted in Indy, and Kelsey Thornton called me out on my Instagram. She's like, "You've not been working Instagram consistently. You should already be over 10,000." I'm like, "Girl, her and I know each other on a different level. If you don't know Kelsey Thornton, she's amazing." But yeah, she called me out on it. So I've been working my Instagram and Facebook consistently for the last 3 years. And I just started working TikTok in, I would say consistently, probably in the last 6 months. You guys, it's not any different work than you're already doing. My team down here right now, they already know this spiel because they got it last night too. The posts that I make on Facebook are the ones I'm going to put over on Instagram. Sometimes it's like I will just copy and paste it right over. Sometimes I'll stagger because the beauty of Instagram algorithm is you don't have to post multiple times a day necessarily. I really am focusing on my niche there. I actually make all my TikToks now in Reels, and I save them in my camera. Like I could get super green. As you guys know, I have a really simple system that helps me work all 3 platforms in the same amount of time. Is much not so short version of what I was trying to say.
You can keep on going if you want onto that little system because I'm like
Oh my
eating
God,
it
it's so
up.
simple.
This is like, I'm the same. Facebook's my bread and
Yeah.
butter. I'm trying to do Instagram, trying to
Yeah.
do TikTok. So I'm like hanging on this
So
system.
I'm just going to be super honest with you guys. My network on Facebook's been tapped out completely. I worked really, really, when I started, I had 300 friends on Facebook, 30 followers on Instagram. Those followers on Instagram were the same moms from my mom group on Facebook. We just posted Instagram, auto shared to Facebook. I didn't even know what Instagram was. Okay. Like my generation, is not like, we didn't always grow up with social media. Social media came out my junior year of high school. Like this age maze. I'm 32. I'm not that old, but you guys, how far social media has come, and our generation really alone is nuts. Like Facebook used to be, you have to be accepted to a college to be able to have a Facebook account because you had to have like a college address in the beginning, you guys. So like that's going to age me on that. But like just it's amazing what has happened with that. Anyway, okay. So I quotes has always kind of started as my thing. It was my enrollers thing. So I copied the right cat. I looked at who I wanted to be and who I wanted to emulate. It also felt true to me, but I copied the right cat until I found my groove. It's how I coach my team all the time. Copy the right cat until you find your groove. You don't know how to write a post? Okay, copy the right person that feel like when you read their stuff pulls your heart out. Now, if you feel like I could never write like that, or that like it intimidates you, there's nothing wrong with intimidation. It should challenge you, right? But if it pulls on your heartstrings and it's something that you enjoy reading, then you can duplicate that. Find a way that feels true to you, but copy the right cat. Like if someone's where you want to be, model after them. So I started doing that and I found my rhythm. So I do a quote post in the morning. Usually I add it to my Instagram. Gonna get super technical. I post it to my Instagram, share that to my Facebook or to my story. My stories are automatically linked to my Facebook stories. So boom, I just hit one platform in 15 seconds. Facebook posts, I've really become just more intentional. I want to add quality. I think social media as a whole right now, you guys, is looking for quality over quantity, period. I bet you right now, you guys could scroll your own feeds and see multiple companies represented by several different of your friends, whether they're in your area or not, already in your current networks. Nothing wrong with that. I love that people are finally waking up that side hustles are where you should be, period. Like I'm so excited for that, but I want to stand out. Okay. So finding a voice that's true to you. I'm not just here to sell you a product. I'm adding quality value to your life. So I'm intentional with my posts, really going kind of more that influencer direction of sharing what's going on in my life while sprinkling the business into it. I almost always have a coffee cup in my hand in my stories. I do make my coffee every single morning in my stories, something I've always done once we started using stories, and it's just become second nature now. You can turn the sound off when your kids are screaming in the background because hello, that's what mine are doing, or keep them in there too. Yeah, I think being consistent across the board, actually, this is probably going to lead into the rest of our conversation tonight, but because I've been so consistent and I found a flow that simply works for me and my family is on board understanding why I'm on my phone, why I'm using it, as to why when things happen, because it will, my business doesn't always become affected by life happening.
Right. And that's pretty much where we're going to go for the rest of this call for the most part. But before we jump all the way into that, what is your non-negotiables? Like on your best day, when you're looking down, like these are the things I'm getting done, what does that look like? And then does that non-negotiable list shift with life? Do you have different seasons where you kind of change it up, or are you like hard pressed on, I will get all of this done every day?
Yes, I love that. Thank you for that. I've switched it to, I think we all call it different things, task list, KPI list. At the essential end of the day, it hits really 4 categories of growing my network, messaging in some way, shape, or form, posting. Oh my gosh, where's my core 4 list? Totally blank. What did I say? Oh, self-development. Yeah, posting, messaging, self-development, and growing my network. Everything within those categories. I mean, obviously I'm agreeing I could subcategorize every single one of those core 4s, y'all. But what I'm doing and what I'm revamping, I do not have a written list yet or designed for my team, but it's called the core 4 plus 1. So think of it like a menu. You have your core 4 things in some way, shape, or form: posting, messaging, self-development, growing network. Not necessarily in that order. I'll talk about that in a hot second too. But then having like an a la carte is the plus 1 list. So batching some content, doing some deeper self-development, reaching out. I mean, if you're a leader, you have anybody underneath you, you should be connecting with your team weekly. That's like also part of that. But yeah, I mean, those core 4 are regardless of what I do. Now, messaging might not be like I'm intentionally trying to make a sale by any means. I'm also focusing on building relationship with potentials. I think that's one thing it's been so easy to get away from. And I think culturally we are all kind of over that. You know what I mean? Like, I think I've cold message from the beginning. I will message, but I cold message to build a relationship, not to sell a product, not to offer them the business all the time right away. I'm usually working a relationship in there in some way, shape, or form. Self-development is hands down the first thing I do before I even grab my phone. I mean, I do grab my phone to make my inspiration post, but it's already prepped the night before, ready to go. And then I set it down. I don't check other notifications. I actually have no push notifications turned on for any of my social media apps, any of my messengers. I even turned it on for my text or off for my text. You guys, I had to because okay, has anybody picked up your phone and actually, you're checking Facebook, Instagram, Messenger, mail, email? Like, do you just automatically do it? And you're like, all of a sudden you're like, why am I checking my email? Like, is anybody else guilty of that? Yeah. Drop a 3. I think we're up to 3 now. Drop a 3. If you've ever caught yourself, just be like, why did I click on that? I don't even know where I'm at. Not being productive, feeling like you sit and spend like 45 minutes have gone by, you've done nothing and you feel drained to high heaven, right? And you're behind and all this spirals, right? Okay. No, reset. Turn off your notifications. You do not have to have notifications turned on for your group chats. Best thing we ever did. Okay. So self-development is key. I have a little devotional right by my bed. I actually I like these short and sweet ones to start my day on because it gets my mind right off the bat. Because you guys, I've been doing this for 5 years and I still am in a battle in my mind. Okay. Like, I have come a long way in the last 5 years, but intentionally in the last year. And Mariah and I dug a lot deeper into this too on our little weekend getaway. But about how much I've really leaned into some serious healing and therapy sessions in the last year to really dive deep to where the roots are. But if your mind is not right and you work your business from a place of desperation, stress, anxiety, worry, fear, it's going to come across. Your work's just not going to be top notch. It was the same when I did hair. Okay. I always try to give my clients the best, but like there was a day, I can think this right off the top of my head. Actually, my brother called. He was supposed to be on a safer deployment. He was active duty Army. And because he is an overachiever and really good at his job, he was being pulled for a very dangerous mission. And I never knew when the call was going to come through, right? Like, but I knew he was going to try to Skype me through. And if you've ever been through someone on a deployment, like the Skype ringtone still haunts you. But I I wept all my makeup off. It was literally as I was driving to work, and it was so hard. It was so hard. Just all the fear. I did not do my best work that day, you guys. Okay. Just speaking from experience. So it's just that saying, wherever your mindset is, if you work from that place that is not like 2 feet flat on the ground, feeling good and feeling good in your own skin and being in a great mindset, then it's going to come across in your messaging. You're not going to be at the top of your game to respond to any kind of messages too. So getting my mind rate's 100%. The number one thing, no matter what's going on in my day, I do self-development. And even if I'm like starting my day that way, but say I want to hit like a power hour later on in the day, I still will start my day with that session, should say, with like a quick self-development to get my mind back in the game, you guys.
Yeah, I think that's so important. One of my favorite analogies of personal development I've ever heard is comparing it to like a NASCAR race. And it's like NASCARs can go the full 200 laps without stopping. Like the car is capable. But in order to win the race, they have to take those pit stops. And I love that you recognize that in life. And you're like, every time I'm gonna sit down to work, I'm gonna take a quick pit stop. I'm gonna make sure I'm good, I'm in the right place. Because the truth is, guys, I can send the same script right now in a great mental space and have amazing results. I can use the same exact wording when I'm having a crappy mood. Nothing's going to come from it. And it's so important to be so aware of that, because that's just going to control so much of your business. And so I know you've gone through so much life over these last 5 years. And that's a lot of time. One of those things that just kind of gets us down. It allows us to have those excuses to step back from our business. And so how have you combated that through some of these tough seasons? How have you stayed so consistent, even when life was just happening and snowballing around you?
It's funny because I was actually thinking about that question. Well, and the first time we were supposed to do this, you guys, I was actually wound up in the ER with my husband that day. So it's super funny because normally I'm like, I'll still do the Zoom, but I also know priorities and boundaries have to be placed too. And we weren't in like a place, I didn't know when he's going in for his procedure and all that too. So that was just ironic. So I'm like, Mariah, you can't ask me to do the Zoom ever again. I'm just kidding. I don't believe in that, but still. Oh man, you guys, if I could begin to list the life stuff that's come at me. I love when people give their quick elevator speech stories, right? I love that first minute and a half when I get to share my story and I want to hit the highlights. But you guys, if you knew the lows in between, I've stepped away from the business. I'll tell you, I was in the business. So I started in March 2016, October 2016. We went through a horrific family crisis that I legally had to be off of social media for a stretch of time, really had to come home. And because I literally had to leave my job that day, I really didn't have much other choice. And I thank God I said yes to this business then. I wasn't even like a twinkle in a Ruby's eye. I think I was like, I don't know, you guys. I don't even think I had one distributor underneath me. I had two. My sister who quit in the first 12 hours of her business, and my husband, my spouse account that I was working, fighting for this like extra bonus that we had at the time. But I'm gonna just kind of go with this. Just go with me for a second. So this all happened. Okay, you guys, we were in the middle of a Ruby to Diamond, like newbie to Ruby, Ruby to Diamond. So we were doing a Ruby to Diamond group. And we were reading Rhinoceros Success together. And so we were in the middle. I was actually, I was in such a good place, but I felt like at the time of my business, I was in a really healthy place. Things were growing and this whole life thing happened to me. I did have to step away from my business for a short amount of time. Now, when I came back in, I was very lukewarm. I was scared in a lot of reasons. I was really traumatized from what happened to our family too, but I knew something had to give. I needed this business to work for me because I wasn't going to send my kids outside of the house to be taken care of by someone else again until they went to school. So, every single person that was in that Ruby group, you guys, every single person, there's probably about 20 of us, was at minimum maintaining Ruby, but most of them were Emerald and Diamond in 4 months. And that was on old charts. Looked a little bit different than what we have. I knew that this was it, right? Like that just shows you, okay, I'm just going to lean in. So from that point on, it pretty much yearly I promoted. I didn't have like quick crazy promotions by any means, but I can see direct correlation to when everything was in alignment with my values, when I was working my business from a place of peace and trusting the one who brought me to this. But you guys, have always worked this business in crazy seasons. So I was actually starting this whole, you guys, I can't tell you, we started this business. Within that 6 months, my grandparents asked for help. We wound up selling our home, moving in with them. We only had 2 kids at the time, under 3, because they couldn't do stairs in our house. We wound up buying their house, flipping their house, moving in again to another house, selling the old one, buying a new one, All the while, you guys, I've worked this business through major, major trauma, through caregiving for not only my family, so 3 kids, 2 kids under 3, and then a baby on the way, a newborn. And then I've had 4 kids. I've had 3 more kids, 2 more kids since I've been in this business to 5 years. So I can't keep track of them all at this point. I just know that I know they're sleeping in bed right now. I have 4. They're here. They're alive. They're well. But my grandparents, that was a whole new ballgame, you guys. If you've ever lived with a caregiving situation or are familiar with it, that's a whole new ballgame. That's a whole other Zoom for a whole other time. And I have a huge place in my heart for caregivers and for the elderly, especially my grandparents. But I worked till triple caregiving for my grandparents, my husband working 3rd shift, crazy hours at the jail and having children. Tim was only home for about a year of that on the jump from double to triple. It was nuts. It was just nuts. And I can't even tell you all of the other times. I mean, you guys, okay. I'm trying to think what time frame was. So it would have been September 2018. Found out, yes. Who was I pregnant with? September 2018. I found out I was pregnant with Everett. Promoted to double. Never maintained. Actually, I don't remember what December 2018. I don't remember what I was maintaining, but it wasn't double. I re-ranked double in January, and then March 31st went triple. So I just like to give those timelines to show you. And that was also rebuilding. Anyone else need to rebuild? Drop a foe. We're at a foe. Drop a foe. Foe. I'm not that ghetto. I don't know where that came from. I'm tired. Don't judge me. But she can come out sometimes. But I just like to give the timeline to show you guys too how much can happen when you put your head down when something's on the table, especially with what they just announced. Oh, and I could get on my soapbox about that too. It's funny because I feel like I almost did my best work at hospital bedsides. Like my grandparents, so that January when we re-ranked double, it's either re-ranked double or February, regardless, it was that whole time of rebuilding and doubling volume and all of that. Between my 2 grandparents only, we were in the hospital about 7 times. And it was a lot, you guys, ambulance rides. And it was almost like, what else was I going to do? I mean, they were okay. They had a fall. We had some medicine imbalances. I want to say it wasn't like I'm being insensitive. They weren't having heart attacks and near death moments by any means. There are times and seasons when you need to have that boundary in place, you guys. Don't hear me wrong in that. What I'm trying to say is that life will always continue to happen. What's steady and constant for me in the last 5 years has been this business. It was almost like my life felt like this mountain, and this business was a simple core 4 list. You know what I mean? Like what we do isn't hard. What was almost harder for me too is figure out, how do I share my story in this season? How do I relate to people my age when I'm caregiving, which has its whole bag of stress and awkward moments, you guys? It's hard. It's like, how do you care about it? Because I still want to honor my grandparents. But yeah, and so that's where my upline came in. And if you don't have an upline, you have somebody in your lineage you can reach out to. You can find a good sideline. We can connect you with Mary Beth too. I mean, whatever you've got going on, you guys have Mariah, but don't ever feel like you can't relate to someone in this. If you're having a hard time writing your story, reach up to that upline, talk to them. I think that was honestly the hardest part through all of it. Actually, I wasn't even working the business. I felt like I did my best work because I was so focused in those moments. It was more navigating how to share my story through it all, because it's hard to relate to that. I mean, even in the last 5 months. Okay, so the last 5 months alone, April 4th, my daughter almost died. We thought she had a bladder infection. Turned out she was actually in DKA. We got rushed to 45 minutes away to the children's hospital, and she was diagnosed as a type 1 diabetic. And I knew her brother had it as well, just from the symptoms and everything they were talking about. So 4 days later, we get home, released from the hospital. I took my son in to get blood work checked. We got rushed back to the PICU with him. So I have 2 toddler. Now she just turned 4 today. So a 4 and a 2-year-old, her type 1 diabetic, which is incredibly full to deal with, but we're really blessed, and God gave them to a green mama. So they're blessed in that. And then, like I said, when she asked me to do the Zoom a few weeks ago, my husband, they thought he had a heart attack. I mean, EMTs, everyone, he was rushed by ambulance. It was nuts, you guys. Like, and I feel like I'm even saying it, you guys, I feel like I'm just recounting you what happened on Days of Our Lives this week. Like, like I laugh because I have to laugh with it, you guys. It's just, life is not going to stop for you. It's not. And don't ever compare, because your demons are your demons. So don't ever feel like, well, my life's not that hard. Don't feel like that's what I'm trying to say. Well, like, I've had it worse. That's not what I'm trying to say. I'm just here to say life's going to continue to happen to you. Your choice is, how do you react to it? Oh my gosh, this reminds me of a quote from the sermon on Sunday. I'm trying to remember how he worded it. He worded it so much better than I just did. I'm going to play with the hand I have been dealt. I have been hand picked. Where is it? You cannot choose how you get wounded, but you can choose how you heal. It's your choice how you handle those moments. It's your choice how you choose to pivot and how you choose to grow through what you go through. And can I preach on this? Can I go preaching? Okay. I love Jesus, y'all. And whether you believe or you don't, know that I'm coming from a place of love and faith and hope, not trying to shove my theology down your throat. But I know what I have found to be true and what has given me pure, full freedom. And I want everyone to experience it. There's my little IDS for faith. Okay. So I feel like when someone says the Lord doesn't give you more than you can handle, it's pure BS. You can quote me on that. It's pure BS. Because the whole point of this earth is that we live in a fallen, broken world, right? And he is going to help us through it. Even before this business, I've buried a child. Like, life is going to happen to you, okay? And it's hard and it's heavy and it hurts. And I still live with that every single day, like at the end of the day, you choose how you pick yourself up, how you put yourself back together, how you show up. And are you going to be proud of the person you were yesterday? Are you going to be proud of the person you are? Even this too, not just looking back. I think it's Matthew McConaughey that says his favorite person is the person, or his hero is the person he is 10 years from now. Like, and I think Brene Brown even talks about that too. When you look in the future, when you're even doing your affirmations in the mirror, imagine that you're looking at yourself 10 years from now and you're saying, thank you for showing up. Thank you for pushing through, for not throwing in the towel, for not giving up when it got hard. Because I'm telling you right now, like, and it's so cheesy. So I feel like it's one of those like posters on your teacher's wall that says, the greatest view comes after the hardest climb. But I mean, it's freaking true. Denise, my heart goes out to you, girl.
It is so good. One of my favorite things to compare with the business is with Jericho, and they were walking around the walls of Jericho, and they would just get up and they would play the music and they would walk around the wall, and then they would go to bed. And then they would get up the next day and they would do it again. And so often our business is like that. Maybe it takes you a year to go around, maybe it takes you 5. But the thing is, every morning they got up and they did it again. And eventually God crumbled those walls in a miracle. And that miracle is out there for your business too. You just have to stay consistent through the journey, trust the process, trust that it's okay that it takes a long time. It's okay that your journey looks totally different than your upline, than your best friend, than Emily's, than mine's. Like, it's your journey for a reason, and your miracle and your success and your final destination is going to look so different, and it's going to be so beautifully tailored to you. You just have to, like she was saying, stay the course. You can't decide what's going to happen to you, but you can decide how you're going to deal with it and how you're going to be consistent through that. So since you just decided to bring preaching into this, it actually segues so perfectly into my next question for you. You are just you do such a beautiful job of really keeping everything you do very God-centered. How have you translated that into your business, and how do you keep that and keep God at the forefront of what you do when you're doing your messaging, when you're doing the mundane that sometimes we just do? How are you still making sure you're bringing that glory back to God and keeping him in it all?
So I feel like there's also false humility. So, I mean, you also want to be careful with that too, but it's funny because I don't even right away when you start saying, I'm like, I don't know, it's just who I am. Like, I'm not any different on social media than I am in person. And faith is, I'm here today because of him. I love Jesus. I cuss a little. I'm imperfect. I'm broken in a lot of ways, you guys. And the only reason I'm standing here today is because of him, or sitting here. But the only reason I'm here today is because of him. The only reason I haven't given up it all is because of him. So I feel like when it's just becomes who you are, it doesn't feel preachy. It doesn't feel forced. When it's literally a part of who you are, it just emanates from you. I think obviously if you read any of my posts, I am pretty open and honest about that there. I have a lot of worship music going on in the background of my story sometimes. I share, obviously, I do a little picture of my devotional in the morning too on stories. This is a cool thing I heard someone say once too. Sometimes the only self-development people in your life are going to get are from you, whether they're in your business or not. So I'm really this business is a ministry for me. I'm really convicted of that. And at the end of the day, I've been personally really convicted that anything I put out, I want it to be God honoring. Don't be wrong. Some of my reels and stories have a little bit of in it, but it's all right. It's all good. I know some of those women in the Bible had a little bit of a towards that too. So no, I'm not saying sin is acceptable. I'm just saying I am who I am and I live it boldly. And I feel like I want people to know that I mean, I joke that I'm a grandma, but like I want to feel like that. I want people to feel like they can come to me. And it's kind of already always in my whole life, but I'm trying to extend that into my social media, right? So really just being who I am in person on social media is huge. When it comes to messaging, I will tell you too, I had a really cool experience. And this isn't my original quote, and I can't remember for the life of me. It was on one of our team Zooms who originally said when they were working, they say, Lord, if it's for me, bless it. If it's not, block it. So I have steamrolled my team. I pushed people away. I have micromanaged people to death. I have been a little too zealous and blue and crazy because I've got a big old blue side too and scared people off. I have done it all wrong. And by doing that, I've found ways to pivot and find my path that feels right to me and true to me. And that all comes again from staying consistent. I always say, copy the right cat till you find your groove and keep going in your groove, even if you freaking mess up big time, right? Because you're going to find those ways. So I think as I'm working, I'm praying, as I'm growing my network, as I'm even right now, I'm in a major purge of my network because it's a little bit unbalanced on Instagram. It's a little bit, what is it? I'm not tapped out, I guess, on Facebook. It's if it's for me, bless it. If it's not, block it. That goes for promotions. That goes for conversations with PDTs. It goes for conversations with PLCs. It goes for relationships within the business. It goes for recognition that I used to strive for. And I believe it's Sherilyn Alcala that always talks about who is on the throne of your heart. There's times that she had her kids above her husband. There were times that she had her business above the Lord. And so making sure for me, it was this last December, I was in Arizona with Alyssa and a bunch of other people at a leadership retreat. It was such a cool experience. Oh gosh, it was just getting around a group of like-minded people that are also growing and running for it is huge. Yeah, Tracy, I'm so excited you're on, sis. I feel like to find that groove and to really stay true to who you are and have your faith intertwined within it is because I'm not necessarily trying to get all the likes. I'm not trying to get all the interactions. Don't get me wrong. I want all of that. I want my reels to go above 1 million, like Brittany Landrum, right? Like I want to see these huge things happen, but I'm confident that they will as I stay true to who I am and do it. But at the end of the day, I'm not going for virality. I'm not trying to go viral. I'm trying to be true to who I am and what I feel like the Lord's placed on my heart. So staying true to my niche, even though I'm still trying to find it. Just for the record, don't go to my page and be like, homegirls all over the place, cooking, singing, preaching, funny things. Who is she? I don't know yet. I'm still figuring it out too, but I know I'm being consistent. And in that process, you're going to find it. I know I didn't fully answer that question. I went on a couple of rabbit trails. So
no, that was so good. I mean, it pretty much just breaks down to you're just being authentic. Like you're just showing up as you, the raw, the real, the everything. You're just being you. And so,
I remembered. Sorry. I was going to say, pause. Sorry. With that, I met with the PDT this week. I thrive on in-person events. So the last 18 months, I'm like, oh, I'm dying. I need people. I'm the blue out there dancing at the white party up on Pam's Outer. Like I had this really crazy side that I really like to come out. I was like my first conference. I wasn't pregnant or nursing, y'all. I had fun. But I say all that because I feel like who's ever been in a conversation with a PDT feeling desperate, like, oh, I need this. You would do so good for my business. Like, just, I guess, what are we at 5, whatever. Drop a 5 if you've ever been like talking to someone, but it's not been because you want to help them. It's because you know what it's going to do for your business. I'll drop a 5 too. I'm dropping it in there too. That's me. Totally been there, done that. I've had enough experience in this business to know that who is supposed to join your business will, and who's supposed to leave your business at a certain time will. And I'm trusting God in those ebb and flow. We have a people-based business. Same when I was in hair. Okay. There's an ebb and flow. People sometimes cheer up. So people pass away. There's always an ebb and flow when you work in a people-based industry. And there's a lot out there, not just sales. So I know in my heart of hearts, if I could get her buy-in, she would kill it. Right. Let's just say this meeting did not go as expected, like in any way, shape, or form. It was eye-opening to her feelings on what I do for a living. But I also knew some other underlying things, and I just felt the Spirit whisper to me, blocking it, like not healthy, not for you, but also for either of us. She wasn't a bad person by any means, but it would not have been what I want for my business. And I don't know about y'all. Are you here to build like just side hustle money? Or are you guys here to build like legacy changing empire money? Drop a 6 if you want some empire money, and don't even comment if you just want. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. If you want side hustle money, I don't care if you want to make $100, if you want to make $50, if you want to make $5 million in this business, you can. Like, I mean, there's nothing stopping you. Just kidding. I love you guys. But for real, I mean, at the end of the day, God bless it. If it's for me, if it's not, block it. And I'm thinking about that in everything. As I'm working, I'm praying, are you laying hands on your chart? Are you laying hands on your e-suite? Are you laying hands on your phone, on your network before you even start growing it? Like, I'm not kidding you guys. And no matter what you believe, you can manifest it, whatever you want to call it. For me, I know it's by the anointing of the Lord that I'm here and how I'm working this business and how I've seen any of the success I am. So for me, I literally pray over it. I pray over my team. I'm grateful I have anybody on my team. There have been times, you guys, when I've looked at a completely empty chart. I get like rewipe, literally no one's working. There's names in eSuite, but they ain't working. Like I've seen it all in different seasons of my business. And at the end of the day, I'm grateful for what I have. And even God forbid, I never want to not have anyone under me. I'm not saying that. Please hear my heart in this. I know at the end of the day, I have an opportunity in my hands that is unlike anything else. And there's nothing I will ever find anywhere else. That's why I ask the Lord to bless it. I'm asking the Lord to bless it. I'm asking him to open it and grow me to become the person that can lead that 1,666 that you're asking God for. You have to become that person that he will entrust with the business you're praying for.
Oh, that is so good. Oh my gosh, I love it. So you've got a bunch of kids. So you've definitely dealt with mom guilt. That's got to be part of it. And I know we've got several moms on here. So I want you to speak a little bit to that. How do you kind of navigate the balance, like you were talking about, and having those boundaries with your kids, but still prioritizing your business?
So I've done a little bit of all. I want you guys to drop in the chat. If you are a mom and you've suffered from mom guilt, let me know if you, at this very moment in working your business, if you're working this. So I guess tell me if you're working the business alone, if you're also working outside the home. I guess that's what I want to know too. I've done it both. I've worked this business working full-time outside of the house. I've worked this business full-time from home caregiving and not having my husband's help, except for in about an hour period between when he would come home and then get up. Mom guilt is real, but I'm going to tell you right now that it's not from the Lord. I feel like balance is a joke. First of all, I think it's TD Jakes. I remember watching a thing. If you don't know who he is, he's a pastor. He's built an incredible church. He also is a TV producer. I mean, the Lord blessed him with, I know he's a major entrepreneur, writes books, all the things, raised a ton of kids himself too with his wife. I'm just reading these as they come through. I get it. So right now I have 4 kids, 8 and under. I have 2 at home. The 2 that are home are type 1 diabetic. I think it was Pam that said, get everyone's buy-in. Get everyone's buy-in. The last thing, my phone's on the charger, it completely died, but the last thing I want my children to remember of their childhood. Hold on a second. Yep. Okay. Hold on. Are there going to be seasons where I'm working a little bit more? Absolutely. But I'm going to tell you right now, if you're working 8 hours a day on this business and you're not already crazy ambassador diamond with hella checks, then there's a problem with how you're working. I think I've just become super intentional with my time is really what I'm getting at. Pam had said, to get their buy-in. So we did dream boards for them. Every time we do dream boards, we do one for each kid that gets it. Obviously my 3 and 2-year-old have no idea what's happening. They just color, but they also understand. I talk to them like they're part of the family they are. So I get their buy-in, explaining what we're working hard towards. So normally I don't do a ton of evening Zooms during the week. I don't, but I also know I need to be available for my team. So we literally have a schedule for our family. It's going to look a little crazy. This one's a little bit more open tomorrow. I have a planner that literally blocks out time from 6 a.m. until 8 p.m. I have to get up before my kids or I will murder them. in the day. I'm just kidding, but not. I think just being really intentional and making sure I'm filling the cup. So going back to TD Jakes, he talked about the interviewer had asked him, how do you do it all? Nobody can. Is really the answer. Nobody can. But think of it of like the guy who's spinning a basketball, right? So I think like there's like those circus performers that do it on like poles, right? So you've got like however many poles, right? You've got your relationship with your spiritual life. For me, it's faith in the Lord. You've got your relationship with your significant other. At least you have that core person if you're single. If you don't, you still need to have a great relationship with yourself, right? So then you have your relationship with your kids or whoever fills that kind of spot. Then you've got your business. Then a lot of you have jobs outside the home. Then you have maybe volunteer positions at church or community events, or you like to do a hobby, right? Like all of these things make up all these balls that we're trying to spin in the air, right? And at some point we've all dropped a ball or we've completely knocked it out, right? There's been something that's happened. He's like, my goal is to make sure I'm at least spinning one of my balls. Like it's, I'm keeping the momentum going everywhere, right? So what I had to do when we were at Alyssa's retreat is we all talked about kind of a little bit of burnout, what we were feeling. And also for me, it's like I went from working a full-time job to working this and finding my identity and my obsession in this. So I did allow this business to become like on the throne of my heart. So what I've been doing really intentionally since December of last year, dating my husband again, making sure, so my values are the Lord, Tim, the kids, my business. Anything extra has to come last right now because this is our sole bread and butter, y'all. So mama's got to make this work. And explaining that to my children that when mommy's on TikTok, it's not just for fun videos. Like what I am is I'm building explain to them what I do, like I help people. I hate to say it, like when they say they still help people lose weight, like yes, becoming the healthiest version of themselves is we really are watching our verbiage with that in the house too. But I'm connecting with other mommies when we were focused on promotions, like explain to them, well, this is what this mommy wants. Like I have my team dream board, like I have my dream board for my family, but I have my team dream board and I know what my team has on their dream board for why I'm working. So explaining that then to my kids, they know their kids, they might not met them in person, but we show them their picture. So they also have this buy-in and understanding why they're doing this. Now, do I do it perfectly all the time? Yes, I do. No. Tonight, my 6-year-old and I had issues because I was super excited because I've signed another distributor. I'm in a conversation with another one, all the stuff, right? I need one more customer to get my 4-in-1 for this month. And I'm gonna get it. I'm so excited. But anyway, it becomes like an addiction. It's fun to me. And it's part of that adrenaline rush, right? There's a chemical release in your brain of serotonin. There's one of the happy hormones comes floating on in when we get to work in this business and we're getting success and we're seeing interaction, we're seeing conversation. Like it's literally like a junkie, right? Like we're like, this feels good. But at the end of the day too, also, is everyone's kids is everyone's kids still in the house, like under 18, or do we have a lot of like grown kids too? Like who am I speaking to? Give me like your age range of your kids. Reason I say that is I don't have much time left. I know I do, but I also know that I don't. I have 10 summers left until my daughter goes to college. Like I don't look at it 10 years, like I have 10 summers left with her. Tim and I have been married for 12 and it feels like it just kind of blew away. So, or like just gone like crazy. We all got some young kids. That's almost the same age gap as my kids. I don't know how to say your name. I'm so sorry, but that's almost the same age gap as my kids. I love that. And the 2 you babysit. Yeah, girl. At the end of the day, I get their buy-in. I explain to them why I'm doing this. I also make sure I'm pouring into my cup before they get up. So I'm not waking up on defense because then everyone's throat's about to get cut. I also make sure that no matter how I feel, that I'm still prioritizing my time with the Lord, not taking it out on my husband because I can do that. I also make sure I eat breakfast with my husband now that he is home, because there's been times I completely neglected him and worked this business for a really long time. Like nothing but honesty you'll get from me. So I hope I can go there. Spending time with him. And then it's almost like I would work my business. Then I'd be mad and jealous. Got to take them to the park. Well, guess what? I designed that in my day. Why did I work my business when he went to the park instead of going to the park with them and then their cups filled and not? So I guess for me, what I'm trying to say is fill everyone's cups to the level that they need to. Make sure your work gets prioritized no matter where you put it in the day. Kids generally especially my younger ones, I can spend a focus 15, 20 minutes, maybe even an hour with them. And their cups are pretty full, man. Like if I can get their attention on one thing, and then I go and I prioritize my business. I also get my kids, if I don't know if the kids that you watch, if you can get their parents on board with them being part of some of your content that you create, some of the best pictures my kids have taken, just straight honest too. Kids love TikToks. Kids love helping put reels together. Again, I don't know your situation, but I think what it really comes down to is this business a priority to you or not? Period. Is your dream, is your why big enough and convicting enough? If it's not conviction, if you're not convicted, then you'll find a reason not to work it. Bianca Olthoff, who we saw speak at GLS, I've been listening to her book, How to Make Your Life Not Suck. She did a podcast beginning of June with Craig Groeschel, one of my favorite leadership speakers of all time, the leadership podcast. But it was from the first Thursday in June. He always drops on the first Thursdays, but his one in June was with her. And she talked about if you don't have conviction, then that you're lacking that. You don't have a why deep enough and strong enough to work this business. Every other thing that's going to come and try to knock your knees out from underneath it, you will, because you actually aren't really standing on a solid foundation anyway. And I hope that makes sense.
Oh my gosh, that was so good. Oh, thank you so much for hopping on with us tonight. This has just been, I feel like, a breath of fresh air. We love to talk about like tips, and we love to talk about strategy, and we love to talk about scripts, but we don't always take the time to talk about like the nitty-gritty emotions that go into all of it, the life that's happening in the meantime. And I really appreciate you being honest and vulnerable with us tonight and letting us see into your life that way. And so, do you have any final thoughts or anything you want to leave us with before we hop off?
Well, I'm going to pray you guys out if that's okay too. But I just feel like if anybody, I don't know if you guys fully grasp what they just announced, the money that's on the table, not just in weekly bonuses, the Christmas cash, all of it, but the simplification of how our system works. You guys, I don't know any place where you can make $500 a month from signing 4 customers, 1 distributor, and teaching that distributor how to do the same. You can knock that out in your first week and then work one-on-one with your person the rest of these 28 days or 20 days. It's nuts. Okay. But still, regardless, I also don't know any other industry, any other company in this industry that doesn't just pay the way we do, but has a heart and cares about you and your families the way Mark and Cindy do. And I know Mariah can speak to that firsthand first. I think taking however much time you need to tonight to journal what's really holding you back, journal why you said yes, just dive deep, like write it out, have a freaking interview with yourself, have a face-to-face, have a coaching call with yourself. The biggest leadership challenge you'll ever face is leading yourself. You cannot lead anyone through what you're not willing to grow through yourself. The money might look great, but what do you need to do in the process to become that person, to lead someone to also getting their goals in place? But I just really want you guys to know that you're capable, you're worthy, it's possible for you. I'm proud of you that you're here. I'm proud of you that you're still here no matter what life has thrown at you. And I just want to reassure you that you are part of the most incredible team. Mariah is amazing. She has got such an incredible heart, an incredible passion, an insane work ethic, and she loves you guys so much. You are very blessed by her leadership. So all right, I'm going to praise out. Heavenly Father, I thank you so much for every single person represented here. I thank you for every family represented here. I thank you for every child represented here. I thank you for every business represented here, for every network, for every single life that these businesses, these people can touch because of it. There's a million lives represented here by the outreach of these people. I pray, Heavenly Father, that an anointing would just be over this team. I pray that walls would be broken down, that soft places would begin to be exposed, that tenderness and grace and mercy and fire and passion and grit would just be exposed, and it would be ignited. I thank you, Lord, for the opportunity to speak then tonight. I hope that they hear you and not me. I pray that things that are true, things that were supposed to stick with them will. I pray that it would just bless them. I pray that they would just take away what they need to in this season of their business, and that you would explode it, that your hand would be so evident in the growth of this team. We love you. We trust you. We ask these things humbly in your name. Amen.
Amen. Yes, ma'am. That was so good. We appreciate you guys so much for hopping on and hanging out with us. Drop a 1,000, because I don't know what number we're on. So drop 1,000 in the chat if you guys just took something away. It was so amazing.